Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Welcome to Genuine Business Stories, where we have front porch chats that inspire success. We are excited today because our guest is KiKi, please.
Koymarianos.
And she is a broker associate with Keller Williams Realtor, the Magnolia and Woodlands offices, the owner of WOMTech, Women on a Mission to Earn Commission, and a driving force in the WISE Conference, which inspires and empowers women while supporting local charities. Today we'll explore her path for strategies for growth and how she's helping others succeed. Let's settle in and grab a cup of coffee and have a chat. Morning, KiKi. How are you doing?
Good. How are you? Excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you, and I'm excited to get your story out there. Before we get started, would you give people contact information for yourself, for WOMTech, for anything that you want, WISE, your realtor service?
Okay, so the easiest way to get in touch with me is via, of course, social media. It's my name, KiKi Koymarianos. WOMTech, WOAMTEC. That's how you can find it in Facebook and Instagram. And my contact number, my cell phone, which is the best way to reach me, is area code 727-244-2680, and reach out anytime that you want via text, phone call, and of course my email. You can find it on all my social media.
Well, thank you, KiKi. So I'm curious, what originally drew you to real estate?
So I have been in real estate since 2004.
Where did you start at?
I started in Florida, in the Tampa Bay area, which I still hold a broker's license in Florida. So I have a team of 3. I have my own company there. So I used to be in finance, in the finance world. I worked for JP Morgan Chase. And in middle of 2004, the department where I was managing a section of the call center in the Tampa Bay area was going to move to Lake Mary, which is towards Orlando in inland Florida. And I didn't want to move from the beach, because I was in Clearwater. That's the whole idea of living in Florida, be by the water. So at the time I was getting ready to marry with my current husband, and I had a little bit of severance package that I would get from JP Morgan Chase. The real estate was booming in 2004. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do real estate. I'm gonna go get my license, and that's what I did. I got my license on December 3rd. I activated. I started with Keller Williams in the Tampa Bay area, and the rest is history. I never looked back.
Do you remember what your first very big win was?
So, yes, I do, which is a very good story for a lot of realtors that are starting out. I started, like I said, with Keller Williams. Of course, now I'm a broker. I have my own company in Florida, but I am with Keller Williams here in Texas. Keller Williams, the Woodlands and Magnolia. So the broker at the time, they are still the broker, Gary and Nikki Ubaldini, were a competing broker. What does that mean? That means that they had their own team. They would go out, get listings, have buyers, and the whole 9 yards. So I was doing cold calling. I was calling for sale by owners. That's how I was in corporate America. I had to find my own clients, right? So one time I went against their top listing agent. That guy was a listing machine. Like he would go in, get the listing, move on. So I went in after him. Like he had already been to the home and he had already spoken to the homeowner. So I went in after him, brand new agent. I think I was in the business for like 3-4 months, something like that. Very fresh in real estate. So the guy was really funny. He was Italian, so he started talking to me. You know, he had an Italian accent and everything. So he goes, "So, what are you gonna do different than the agent that was here before?" And he showed me all, because of course, you know, they were a big team. They had a lot of money. They had all the marketing stuff, which I didn't, okay? Brand new agent. I had made some flyers on my printer and that was it. He went in with his fancy brochures and all. And I said, well, I will tell you exactly what I'm going to do different. First of all, I said, the guy that was here talking to you, that's the first and last time you're going to see him. Once you get that listing, you're going to get into the machine of the team. You will be transferred to a coordinator. You will be transferred to the person who makes arrangements for the pictures. You will be transferred to the person who is making arrangements of the open houses. With me, you get me. And you get my undevoted attention to sell this house. Because, like I told you, I'm fairly new. You are one of my few listings, and I will take good care of you 100%. And you know what, guys? I got the listing. He gave me the listing, and we had the meeting to where Gary Ubaldini came in front of the whole office and said, hey, because I told them, I said, hey, by the way, I got that listing over you. And they were like, you did? I said, yes, I did. So he came out and he used me as an example for the people that would come up with all the excuses, why not? So I always remember that. I'm not scared of who I'm going against, and I always tell people, I don't care who the biggest fish in the pond is, because I'm a different animal.
And thus it starts where you started learning relationships outlast transactions.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, in Florida and in Texas, what has been your largest sale?
So my largest sale in Florida was 2.5 million, and I'm working towards one larger than that in Texas. Hopefully it will come to fruition. I have it listed. Let's see. I will reveal the number once it's sold. It's not sold yet. We're currently working a deal.
Well, that is fantastic. So do you remember what some of the toughest moments were when you first started?
Yes, because like I said, I started in 2004. Everything was amazing. I got married. In 2007, I had my son. In 2008, we went to Greece to baptize him. And coming back, nobody saw it, but the market crashed. We came back in July, and within like 2 or 3 months, the market crashed. The floor collapsed. Everybody started falling behind on their mortgage payments. People were losing their houses. And I remember I had a coach at the time, a real estate coach. And I told her, I said, hey, you know, things are changing. I wasn't prepared for that. I was only in the business like less than 4 years, because I got in the business at the end of 2004. So I said, I want to start doing short sales and foreclosures. And you know what she told me? She goes, do you want to be known as the agent who deals with all the problematic transactions? And I thought to myself, I'm like, this lady is out of reality, right? Because
that's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity, right? So my husband, we're both in the same business. He's not a realtor. He's on the title side. So we were both affected, okay? Because if the real estate is doing bad, the title industry is doing bad. We're related kind, we work together. So at the time, he used to work with an attorney he was managing the title company. So I told the attorney, I said, hey, I'm going to set up an LLC and we're going to start doing short sales. And the attorney looked at me, he goes, there's no way you will ever get those things go through. True. The first couple of years, not even the banks knew what was going on. You would get a buyer, you would submit the paperwork to the bank, and by the time the bank would look at it, come back with whatever numbers they wanted to work with, you had already lost the buyer because it was like 3, 4, 6 months later, right? It took one deal, it took us 6 buyers to get the approval from the bank.
Man.
But I will tell you this. What I learned from that was that you had to be creative. You had to find ways around the transaction. And I am really honored to say that I have completed over 100 short sale transactions, and not one of my clients ever got a W-9. Because, if you are familiar with short sales, because you pay less than what you owe, the bank considers the remainder portion of the unpaid loan as capital gains, and they send you a W-9. And I'm really happy to say that none of my clients got a W-9. So in the hardest times for the realtors, for the homeowners, for the investors, at least, we didn't have to pay more than we owed Uncle Sam.
Well, that is good. So what have you found? What separates a successful agent from a great agent?
A successful from a great?
From a great, because my daughter's a successful realtor. There are realtors that make a very good living. And then you have like Selling Manhattan, where you see with some of these shows, and those agents are making millions a year. So
yeah.
Is it your skill set along with the market you're in that provides that opportunity, or what have you found that sets you aside?
So I think a successful agent has a plan. We do what, we have to do. And, everything is irrelevant, I think, right? For some people, money is the driving source. For other people, they just want to help people get into houses. They like to be the matchmaker, And for other people, it's a machine type of situation. The majority of the realtors, that I think that's how it works, the majority of the realtors are usually single agents. They do everything from A to Z themselves. Once you get into the teams and the groups where you have like 20, 30 people working on a team, then you are at a different level. It's like having the little convenience store and HEB. So, and some people just don't want to deal with the hustle of hiring, keeping people on track, training. Some people they're like, what? I will make 50, 100, 200,000 and I'm good. Some others are like, no, I'm going to get a team and we will sell like 60 million. It doesn't mean that all of it is profit, because you have to take into consideration the marketing dollars, the salaries and all that. At the end of the day, I was sitting with a fellow agent of mine at one of our Keller Williams awards ceremonies, and we did the math, and at the end of the day we all pretty much make around the same money if we're at a certain level of production, depending on the size of the bigger teams. So that's what I think. It's how much responsibility you want to take on, and how, if you want to become an enterprise, pretty much.
You know, with being a realtor, it's similar to what I do as a commercial insurance broker.
Yes,
There's a lot of you and a lot of me. Meaning
exactly.
that at least they claim they can do what we do.
Yeah, they do.
So-
And you know, that's the thing. Everybody can get a license, okay? And here's another thing. A lot of times, and you know that too, you meet someone and they're like, oh, you know, I want to sell my house. And you start talking to them and they're, oh, no, my mom has her license. She will list it. Okay, you cannot compete with a mom, right? Even though, you know, I can say a lot of I can argue why you shouldn't list with your mom or your brother. At the end of the day, you know, people will do what they have to do. So I'm sure it's the same in insurance. You know, people, there's a lot of insurance agents, a lot of realtors, a lot of financial advisors. It's a competitive industry.
So, what do you do to help market your business, set yourself aside, because it's all about the trust that you build with your potential customers?
So my main source of business is referrals and networking. I don't do any advertising. I don't spend any money. I don't buy leads. I don't do Facebook ads. I don't do any of that. Would I probably gain a few more transactions if I did it? Probably yes, but what would the cost be and would it be worth it, okay? So to me, because I'm more of a person that likes to build relationships, I like to go and network. I like to meet people, get to know them, create that belly-to-belly kind of effect that, okay, you know what, I know KiKi, she's a good person, she's trustworthy, she will take care of me or my referral. So that's how I get all my business, through referrals and networking, just by, I'm not a pushy salesperson. It's not just, I'm not transactional. I don't just care about the transaction. I want the relations. You know, I want you to do business with me and be like, you know what, I trust this woman, and if I have a problem, I can reach out to her. I have people who have not even used me who will call me and ask for referrals, from a gynecologist to a dentist to a plumber, people who don't even, they have not used me as a realtor.
Yeah. You know, I have found that with trust, it's built the way you do it. My business is operated the same way. It's through network referrals, chambers. It's all relationship building.
I agree.
With WOMTech, and we'll get to that in a little bit, they will do a lot of referrals off of social media for the group, which
Right.
is good. For what I do as a commercial broker, the first question I ask, and I just had this last week, when somebody called and I said, I know your referral came to me on a certain social media site. How many other agents do you have quoting your commercial insurance? X amount. And I said, well, once we reach that limit, then that's the peak of where I'll step in. If somebody is just calling for quotes, I said, I don't mind competing against a couple of agents, but on your commercial side, the whole business is different. It's not me plug it in and get 15 different quotes back for your home and auto within a few minutes. So I'm looking to build the relationship and not have you shop me every single time, because there's audits, there's learning your business to control your risk and help protect what you built. So it's a different world, and that's how I transact.
Exactly.
Now, that customer did not call me back, which is fine.
Fine.
But it was, I'm not going to compete against 15 different agents for your business. And it's not that I'm against competing, but that's not the type of business that I'm looking for. And I kind of pull that out of, you're looking for, let's build the relationship. It's not just a transaction. And I'm sure you've had quite a few customers that you've sold houses for, and then you've represented them to buy new houses and that trust you and have come back to you a few times.
Exactly.
So what is one investment you've made in yourself, meaning training, technology, coaching, that has given you the biggest ROI?
So my goal is to get at least one designation, real estate designation a year. So I have a lot of, I always tell people, the letters that you see after a real estate agent's names are not testing your ability to read the alphabet, okay? They symbolize something. So let's say, for example, the first thing that I did as soon as I got my real estate license 21 years ago, because let's be really honest, you have an insurance license, I have a real estate license, someone has a mortgage license. What is all that? What does it teach you? Nothing. You just go. If you are good at taking a test, you pass it, you go, fingerprint it. Okay, you are a realtor. Do you really know what you are doing? I didn't say that, but I have an undergrad in finance, and I have an MBA in business with a minor in leadership, and I also teach at the university level. I teach leadership and business communication, and I've been teaching for the last 11 years.
Now that I did not know.
Yes.
We'll have to talk more about that.
Yeah, so I'm not your typical realtor. Okay, so I do have an MBA behind my name, but when I got my real estate license and I started doing the real estate stuff, I'm like, there's a lot of things that I don't know. So I asked I had a mentor, and I said, what do you think is the first thing that I should do to gain a little bit more knowledge, right? And she goes, you have to go and get the GRI, the Graduate Real Estate Institute designation. That is an intense course. It consists of multiple classes and all kinds of different modules that have to do with residential, with inspections, with this, that. It was very intense. And I did that. And it was very helpful because it gave me another perspective that I didn't get in the classroom. Then, of course, I have the accredited buyers institute designation. I have the veterans designation. I have multiple designations that help me as a person better understand the business, better understand the needs. I have the senior designation because, believe it or not, veterans have different needs, seniors have different needs. People who come from overseas, international buyers have different needs. And I always tell people, especially when it comes to veterans and seniors, go take those designations, learn a little bit more, because Texas, and I didn't know that because it didn't exist in Florida, but in Texas, depending on your level of disability, if you have a disability in Texas, a VA disability of like 60% plus, you get benefits on your property taxes. If you are 100% disabled, you pay no taxes up to, the last I checked was $10,000 on your property. So make sure you work with a realtor and a mortgage broker who are familiar with all your VA benefits, because you are missing out on a lot of benefits, and I think a lot of veterans don't take full advantage of what they could get from the benefits that they are awarded, Yeah.
You are quite the accomplished entrepreneur. And Winston Churchill once said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And I think that is something as business owners we quickly learn. That high of success, and you're going, okay, I've got this figured out. And then all of a sudden you get put on your behind. And You're going, not quite so sure I got it figured out. And then all of a sudden some success comes along. And that lets all of us continue to proceed.
Right.
Now, I want to get into WOMTech, which is how I met you. Women on a mission to earn commission, and a few good men. I'm one of the few good men. So this is fascinating to me. So tell us how you first discovered WOMTech in Florida.
So like I said, my husband and I in 2008 were hit with the real estate change in Florida. And in 2010, we decided to relocate from the Tampa Bay area south to the Boca Raton area of Florida. He got a job with a different company there. We're like, okay, let's move. And here we go. New area, bad real estate market. How do I start? We had a 2-year-old. My son was like two-year-old at the time. I'm like, I need to join a networking group. Well, guess what? The first category that is always taken in any networking group is the real estate. Real estate, mortgage, and insurance. That's it. So I was looking, I went to a BNI, I went to some other local ones, and then there was a little group called WAMTech that was in West Palm Beach, which was a 45-minute drive from Boca Raton. And Florida is not like Texas. Oh, everything is at least an hour away, okay? And you don't care. You're like, oh, it's an hour, I'm going to drive. 45 minutes in Florida, it's a ride, okay? So I went there, and it was a WAMTech chapter that was just starting, and they didn't have a realtor. And I said, you know what? It's 45 minutes away, but I can sell real estate in this area. I'm going to start. So that's what I did. I joined the group. And
You'd have never realized how much that one moment and that decision would change your life.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened, because it really changed my life. Like, WAMTech really changed my life, and I can tell you, but you want to go ahead and ask me and I will tell you what. So that's how I found out about WAMTech, but there is a story to that. To be continued, right?
So you then moved to Texas. And
Yep.
Tell us how that goes, because now we've got WOMTech in Texas.
So same thing. 2011, my husband and I moved to Texas. Better opportunity. All the Google searches at the time in 2011 were, every time you would Google best state to be, Texas, best city to be, like Dallas, Austin, Houston. So we took a leap of faith and we moved to Houston. We went to Dallas and Austin. They were not for us. And then we came here and we found the Woodlands, which was meant to become home for us. So we moved in August 1st of 2011. Here we go. Not only new area, new state, new city, new everything. And guess what? I had to get a real estate license all over again, because Florida and Texas don't have a reciprocity, okay? I got my license. I started online when I was still in Florida. I came here, I got my license within 2 weeks, joined Keller Williams September 1st, 2011. And I was like, okay, and now what? Now what? I'm in a new state, and I love Texas. Texas has been very good to us. But I'm not a Texan. I'm not an Aggie. I didn't go to UT. Well, what am I doing here? With my accent, I don't even have a southern accent. You know, at least in Florida, I had a very big Greek population.
You realize today is the podcast of the accents.
It
Greek
is.
and Southern drawl.
Exactly. So
I hope people can understand us
I
when they're
hope so
listening to
too,
the show.
you know. I hope so. You know, I work very hard to maintain my accent. Just kidding. It's like, you know, it is scientifically proven that after you move to a country after a certain age, you cannot really get rid of your accent unless you are willing to spend a lot of money.
Oh, your Greek accent's going to take on a Southern drawl in a few years.
So anyway, so here I am in Texas, not knowing anybody, have to start a business from scratch. Same thing. I started visiting different networking groups, and there were not that many back in 2011, okay? There were a few, but nothing really worked for me. Nothing was what I was looking for in networking. And then I thought, how about that WAMTech group that I joined in Florida? I went online, I found the then owner, she was in Orlando, and I called her. And I said, hey, hi, my name is KiKi, you don't know me. I was a member of that chapter, and now I have moved to Texas, and I want to start a chapter. And she's like, well, that would be great. Here are the requirements. And she started. You need to have like a minimum of 500 people in your database. You need to have this and that. I'm like, lady, I just moved here. I don't meet any of the requirements, but I'm going to start a chapter. She told me later she thought I was crazy, and I probably was, right? Because like, how is this lady going to start a chapter? She doesn't know anybody. Well, guess what I did? Because I was determined, okay? If I didn't make it in real estate, I would have to go back to corporate America, and I didn't want to do that. I had been out of corporate America for almost 8 years already, I don't even think I was hireable. I'm definitely not hireable now, but I don't think...
Could you imagine having to listen to a boss, especially probably a boss dumber?
Which is probably 90% of them,
exactly.
Right? Okay, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you know what? No, there's no way I'm going back. So let me tell you what I did. I started going to every event that would happen. Like my son was in daycare, and from like the time I would drop him off to the time I would pick him up, I would go to every networking event, every trading show, anything that was happening. I would go and I would start collecting business cards, and I would send emails, and I would invite people. And I found 7 ladies, that was the core group, that said, yes, let's do this. And they were, the majority of them, actually one of them was had moved here from Florida also. So it was 7 of us, and I went to Papado on 45, and we asked if we could use their private room, because that's one of our requirements. You have to have like a private room so you can have your meetings. And back in the day, we started March 7 of 2012. That was our first meeting.
That is where I met you, at Papado.
Yep. So we went there, and back then, they would do a special menu for us. It was like, I think it had 3, like, what do you call it? An appetizer, main course, and dessert for $20. That price doesn't exist anymore, but that's what we were paying at the time. So we started with 7 ladies. And I always remember there was a lady who is no longer she was in a multi-level business. Now she's back in corporate America. But back then, she was our number 8. So she would always start her commercial. She goes, I was not within the first 7, but I am number 8. So she would always do that. So we started at Papado, and believe it or not, that group of 7 women at one point had grown up to 121 members. They had opened up all that right wing section. And then, of course, we opened the Magnolia chapter and this and that. And in 2017, the original owner, had to step down. She had to take a job in Tennessee because she had to have a liver transplant, and she needed insurance. So she had to sell WAMTech or step down, because she got a job with a chamber in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and WAMTech was considered a competing organization because it was a membership-driven organization like the chamber.
I think it's 2 complementing pieces.
It is. It's not the same, right? It's not the same. But she had to step down. She tried to have her husband run it. But it is a women on a mission to earn commission organization. So the husband didn't really relate with the director. So I called her and I said, I want to buy it. Will you sell it to me? It had started going down as an organization. And she said, I never thought of it, but if anyone, you would be the best person to sell it to. And the rest is history. We made an agreement. I bought it. And I tell people, WAMTech is my baby. I love it. It helped me build my business. It helped me meet amazing people. You are one of those people that I'm glad to call friends, and I give all of this to WAMTech, because if it wasn't for WAMTech, I wouldn't have met so many people that I have met since 2012.
If you want to grow, you've got to have great leaders in place. My leader of my group, Jennifer, I've noticed that's something you've done a great job of, putting good leaders in place to run these. I had, as you know, we discussed, and I had started a networking group. The additional work taken away from my business, the change, the pushing to get people to attend, I shut that down. I have the utmost respect for you that you've grown this into multiple states now in a very successful business. In an industry now where you compete against other groups, and I think one of the good spots is it's the people, but you have a fair price point. I know with other networking groups I've gone in, and when you start asking me for $1,200 or $1,500, and you want to start telling me you'll do X, Y, Z, I tell you, there's a reason I don't work for corporate America, and it's because nobody's going to come in and tell me you're going to do X, Y, Z unless you're my customer. And then you might find I just may fire you if you get too pushy with your X, Y, Z.
So, and that's one of the things that I want to discuss. So, our membership, we have two membership levels, a 6 and a 12 month. The 6 months is $185, the 12 months is $300. It has been the same from the beginning. WAMTech started in 2007. These were the prices. These are the prices that we have, and I always tell people, we will never change for a very simple reason. First of all, my primary job, I'm a realtor. That's my primary income-driven industry. Okay, that's where I'm making my living. WAMTech for me is the vehicle that I use to meet amazing professionals that I can refer, first of all, to my clients. And I tell, we have some younger generation that are parts of our groups. And I said, this is my Rolodex. And I know they don't know what I'm talking about, because, a Rolodex, but that's what it is. Because...
I remember them.
You remember them, right? So, for me, and that's why it's very important, and I always tell, and I'm blessed because, like you said, Jennifer and all my directors are amazing.
Caroline
is
her.
My right hand. I don't know what I would do without her.
I will tell you, today is my birthday. And
Happy
Caroline
birthday.
Was the first person at about midnight to reach out to me and tell me happy birthday.
She's an amazing person.
I love her.
She's amazing. And that's what I am blessed, because we have amazing people. They are in to build relationships, to help. Like, I know that if I refer Clint, if I refer Caroline, if I refer whoever I refer, I know they will take good care of my referral. They will not try to overcharge the people. They will do a good job, and that's it. That's what we're aiming. We just want good people, and that's why you will not see, there's no drama with us. There's no negative reviews, because we don't do people wrong. We don't.
when somebody joins a group like WOMTech, I think the first thing they need to understand is it's not just about handing out business cards.
No,
it is
it's
about
not.
building relationships with people so that they trust you. And once they know they can trust you, then they'll start referring. And it is also about the long game. I think, and you would know better than me, too many individuals will join a network group, join a chamber, go to minimum things, not do it long enough, and then complain that it didn't work. And it's not that the chamber or WOMTech doesn't work, it's that you didn't work it.
Well, and it's part of the word, networking. You have to work it. Like if you join any organization, WOMTech, the chamber, whatever you join, and you never show up, I tell them, we're not the yellow pages. You don't put a name in a directory and you expect people to do the work for you. You have to do the work. You have to show me what you can do. You have to come and have coffee with me or stay after the meeting and tell me a little bit more about you. I need to get to know you and trust you, Yes, that's a lot of people have their own perception of what networking is, and that's why they don't succeed in it.
So how many states are you in now, and how did it start growing to other states?
So initially, believe it or not, there were 70 chapters of WOMTech in multiple states, and like I said, it started after the original owner kind of stepped down. It started to close down and become smaller. And of course, COVID didn't help because we had to go, restaurants closed, some directors couldn't come back, people. COVID, like for a couple of years, we had a really rough time, but we came back because after COVID, people were ready to network. They were like, okay, we need to get back out, we need to build our businesses. So we're now in Florida, of course, Texas, Massachusetts, Illinois, and we are discussing a chapter in North Carolina. So hopefully that will take off. We'll see if we can do that. But in Texas, we are in the greater Houston area. We're in Austin, Round Rock. We're discussing a possible Georgetown chapter, and I am in touch with a person that will most likely start an El Paso chapter. We're excited.
So how did you start ending up with chapters in other states?
So believe it or not, the majority of people who have started a chapter in another state are either people like me who were in a WOMTech chapter somewhere and they moved and they couldn't find something that appealed to them networking wise, and they called me, hey, can I start a chapter? Of course you can start a chapter. Or our Massachusetts one, the director there, she's a cubby stylist. She sells clothes, and she was in the downline of our Vintage Park director, and they were talking, and she's like, well, I really want to grow my business. And this director here is like, well, why don't you start a networking group? She connected her with me. Same with our Illinois director. She was in the multi-level business marketing, and one of her associates was a director of a chapter down here, and it's like, why don't you start a chapter? And she was in another networking group that she didn't want to deal with for the exact same reasons, plus the price. And she called me, she goes, hey, can I start a chapter? I said, of course. And she's very good because she was in leadership in that chapter, so she knows exactly what she needs to do. Same with my directors in Round Rock and Austin. They were members of another networking organization that they didn't want to continue being members of.
So as you grow WOMTech, what processes have you put in place in order to ensure that the culture that you've instilled stays the same as it grows into outside of our local area here, other regions of Texas and other states?
So the main thing that I do with my directors is that every month we have a directors call that we get together and we discuss the challenges, and we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. My directors will call me anytime, text me. We don't have like the 9 to 5 type of policy if they have an issue. And I always tell people, because people will call me and this director, I'm like, that's her chapter. As long as, it fits within our general policies, our directors have the ability to refuse someone of becoming a member, to tell someone if they're not complying that we will not tolerate that and they will have to either be transferred to a different chapter or we won't renew their membership, because at the end of the day, the directors need to be able to control their chapters,
Yeah. So one last point on WOMTech that I want to touch on is, I know you work with referrals in the group, so if you have a current member that refers somebody, tell me how that works.
So yes, I want to say that because I think we're the only organization that does that. First of all, every member can visit any chapter twice every 6 months. You are in Florida, use it as a write-off. I went in Florida to network. That's a great write-off. Or I went to Illinois, or I went to Massachusetts, right? So you can visit any chapter twice every 6 months. If we have smaller chapters that need, because every week, every meeting, we have a presenter. One of our members does their spotlight for 10, 20 minutes, depending on the size of the chapter. If you have a business that is not represented in a chapter that you want to present, all you have to do is call the director, ask if your business is represented. If they have availability for you, they will put you on their calendar and you can go and present to another chapter. And the third thing that we do is if you bring a guest that wants to join the chapter, it can be the chapter that they visited or it can be a different chapter, it doesn't matter. As long as they put your name as the referring member, you get a free month added to your membership. And believe it or not, Melanie, you know Melanie?
Mm-hmm.
Melanie had 28 months.
Oh, she works it.
She works it.
And
She's my superstar.
Here's kind of the story. One of my clients and friends for many years, Melanie had posted, I need a commercial insurance broker.
I knew she brought you.
So my friend says, hey, talk to Clint. So we get in and start having a conversation. The next thing I realize, Melanie does not need business insurance. She needs me to come to a WOMTech meeting.
She's slick.
So I did. I had to give her credit.
She is so slick.
I really like her. She's.
If anything, you guys need to come to one of our meetings just to meet Melanie. Or follow her on Facebook so she can invite you.
That's exactly right. So how do you balance and prioritize between Keller Williams, WOMTech, and the WISE conference that we're about to discuss?
So one of my members back in the day said, I am convinced you are a vampire. You don't sleep. It's all part of like having a schedule, There is a section of my day that I do real estate.
Take us through your day then, from wake up till go to sleep.
So I always tell people, like, I'm here at 9 o'clock just for Clint, because I don't do 9 o'clock. My day outside starts at around 11 o'clock. I have 2 fur babies that I get up early, like between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. I get up, I have my quiet time, I walk my dogs, I walk them every morning. It's a non-negotiable. They're big dogs, they want to be walked. my son just moved to Tampa to go to college, so I had to get him ready for school, and up until a few weeks ago that now he's in Tampa. So I start by checking my email. That's at the first thing in the morning. I have to check, make sure there aren't any emails that need immediate attention. Then I have a time that I use for my real estate to do follow-up calls, go through the contracts that I have. If there is something that I need to do, I do a little bit of cold calling for some, generate new listings. Then I try to visit one chapter every other week. We only meet twice a month. The first and third week, or the second and fourth. My chapter meets the first and third Wednesday, so that's non-negotiable. I always tell people, you have to treat your networking as an appointment on your calendar. It has to be on your calendar. It has to be non-negotiable. It's like having a doctor's appointment. Are you going to schedule a meeting with a client the day that you have to go to your dentist? No, they will be like, you will tell them, oh, I'm sorry, I have an appointment. Can I meet you before or after? Why don't you do the same thing with your networking? I have an appointment from 11:30 to 1. I can meet you before or after, or I can meet you the next day. It amazes me that people don't do that. So to me...
I do. I live off of my calendar and that reminders.
Exactly. Open up your calendar, however you do it. Google Calendar. I put it in my phone. That's the easiest way, because you have your phone. You open, I'm sorry, I have an appointment, blah, blah, blah. So then after I go to my meeting, or I do a one-on-one with someone and come back and I do a lot of Audible. If you are not doing Audible, highly recommend to do Audible. It's like refreshing.
And our show is on Audible.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, you need to send it to me. Yes.
Yeah, I love Audible.
Oh, I love it because I live in my car. I drive a lot. I don't listen to the radio like 104.1 or whatever. I always do Audible because my car is my university. That's how I use my car. So yeah, that's what I do. I just allocate different times of the day for the different things, and it works out. And I like to go and do some, the first Wednesday of every month. Our Vintage Park chapter has a happy hour. Highly recommend you to go. It's at the Annex from 5 to 7. Happy hour. Everybody is welcome. And yeah, that's what I do.
So now we're going to move on to something I know is very near and dear to your heart. The WISE Conference. Why don't you kind of give us an outline of a description of what it is and who it helps, and each year at this conference you pick a different charity that you're going to work with. And
so the WISE Conference. WISE stands for Women Inspiring, Supporting, Empowering. Okay, that's the acronym. How did it start? Same thing. Back in 2012, there were different conferences that took place in the area, and I went to some of them. And the last one that I attended was at Lone Star. Actually, that was the last time that they put that conference together. It was so boring. I'm telling you guys. I don't drink coffee, maybe 1 cup a day or something like that. I was on my 6th cup and I couldn't stay awake. It was boring, draining. And it was Carol Gooch, who is the founder of MCABW, who was putting the conference together with some other ladies, some other organizations. So I called her after the conference. I'm like, is this the best that you guys have to show in this area? Like, this is supposed to be the Woodlands, right? An affluent area. The average income is above average of the US. You have educated women here. Is this what you offer them? And this was not the first one. Like I said, I had gone to 4 or 5 of those. So I told her, I said, hey, what do you think? You want to put a conference together? She goes, yes. I said, but it will be different. We will do a conference towards the end of the year, and our goal will be to empower women to finish the year strong and give them the fuel they need to start the next year. She goes, we can do that. She goes, do you know how to do it? I said, no, I've never put a conference together. She goes, I don't know how to do it either. Other people do it. And at that time, I had an event coordinator in WAMTech who was actually, she had moved here from New York. She's a Texan. She was putting together, in New York, she was putting together big medical conferences. But she had gotten a divorce, she had moved back to Texas, and she was starting a conference coordinating business. I said, let me ask her if she will do it with us. And I asked Glenda, and she said, yes, let's do it. I said, we don't have any money, we're just starting, right? She goes, oh, I will do it. I don't need the money, it will be good exposure for me. And that's what we did. We started planning it in July of 2012, and we did the conference in October of that same year.
That was a lot of work.
That was a lot of work. We did it at the Woodlands Resort, and that's where we're going back. The conference is tomorrow. We had 285...
Tomorrow being September 24th.
Yes, September 24th, yes. So we had 285 women. It was amazing. People loved it. And our mission, this is our way to give back to the community. Okay, we live here. We work here. How can we give back? Okay, that was our main point. We want to give back to the community. So every year we pick a local non-profit, and here's the catch. We honestly pick a non-profit that whatever we give back, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 10,000 is the most that we have given back, just because, all these facilities take a big chunk of our profit because of, the fees and all that. We're trying to find a facility that will be able to hold about 350 attendees plus the vendors, because we have a vendor market. So every year we pick a local nonprofit that whatever amount of money we can give back will make a difference. Like when we gave $10,000 to Sleep in Heavenly Peace 2 years ago, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, that $10,000 was able to build 40 beds for 40
That is
kids.
Sweet.
Right? So our nonprofit this year is MCOP, Montgomery County Outreach for Overdose. And it is a smaller nonprofit. It started by 4 mothers who lost their kids to overdose, and we're hoping to be able to give them enough money. I think what they will use the money for is they have a walk of fame. It's not like a walk of fame, but it is, they put together stands for kids in the community. Not only kids, I think it's young adults to I think anywhere between 14 to 26 years old, something like that. That it is a problem in our society, and I know our community doesn't want to talk about it because it is considered a stigma, but we have to talk about it because it happens. So I think what they will use the money for is to create those displays that I think they're up to 300 of those right now. They will have about 100 of them displayed tomorrow at the resort as you come in.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this will air after the conference, but if you are a small nonprofit in Montgomery County, the application will open up in January 2026. And the second thing that we do is that we give 3 scholarships to 3 business women from the greater Houston area. So again, if you are a business a small business owner and you need money for new equipment, for continuous education, whatever you need money for your business, those applications will also open in January of 2026.
And if I'm not mistaken, you also, when you've got a charity that you're supporting, from my memory, they also come through and present throughout WOMTech to each chapter.
We do. We want them to come and present, because it's one thing for me to tell you, oh, our nonprofit this year is MCOP, and you're like, okay, and who's MCOP? But when these people come and they talk to you and you hear their story, it makes it more personal. And you're like, you know what? You will be surprised. People come and present, and we always have people within our groups that, yes, they lost someone to suicide, they lost someone to overdose, and then it becomes personal, and they want to help, and they want to support.
Last year's and this year's presentations, I am not a man that tears up very easily, but I'll tell you both of them, because of the reflection of what happened to their children, had me in tears during the presentation.
Yes, because you know what? That could be your child.
It could be.
It could be anybody's child. And that's why, both suicide and they call it overdose. Overdose was in our generation. These kids nowadays don't overdose. They get poisoned because the majority of them just take one pill.
And they're stamped as something else.
They're stamped, exactly.
It is really an outside war
Yes.
on our youth in this country.
And that's, I'm very passionate about it because, like I said, I have an 18-year-old. I have a young child in the society, in today's society. He's off to college. Even if it is in your own house, you cannot control them anymore with the media influence and all these applications that, I don't know, my husband is in charge of all the applications because I'm not that involved with it. It's too many to manage and to monitor, So I'm passionate, and I want to help, and I want these people to know that they have a voice and they have a platform.
As business owners, we need to remember to align with causes bigger than ourselves.
Yes.
It multiplies both reach and impact.
I agree.
And I know with WISE you tie back in to help with the sponsorships and other stuff. There are booths that as business owners can reserve their spot.
Yes.
And I believe those proceeds also go to charity, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's what we do. After we pay all our expenses and we keep what we need to get the next year started, the rest of the proceeds goes to the nonprofit, and nobody on our committee gets paid. We even have to pay for our own tickets to go to the conference. I want people to know that. The only two people that we pay is the graphic designer and the webmaster, because we have to pay them. This is their job. They have to keep our website up, and they have to do all our graphics, and all the rest of us, it's all volunteer, and it's all business owners, women that live, work in the community. They have kids in the public or private school system. We were one of all these people living in this area. That's it.
As we head into the lightning round, I want to give one little business nugget to other business owners out there listening. Remember, failure is tuition. Learn from it and don't waste it.
Totally agree.
So, KiKi, this is the lightning round. One tool under $100 that you cannot live without.
One tool under $100 that I cannot live without.
The tool can be computer, anything that you use for your businesses or your charity.
That's a tough one. I would say under $100. My planner, my regular planner, not like the phone. I have a planner. I still use a planner that I put everything in there, and it comes with me, and everything goes in there. If I think of something, I need to do that, I open the planner and I write it down. There.
Fantastic.
That's it.
what is your superpower in business?
My superpower in business is my persistence and my ability to accept no. I accept no. You can know me all you want. I will keep going.
So if all of a sudden you doubled your growth, what would be your first hire if you could hire anybody to help you with your day?
My first hire that I'm really hoping to be able to hire by the end of the year will be a virtual assistant.
I am looking at the same thing.
Part-time, I will do 20 hours because, you have
Get
to
out of
test
my
them.
head. That's what I was thinking also.
20 hours, but I highly, highly recommend, because there are so many things that someone could do for you in 20 hours if that's what if they really put 20 hours. Yes, that's my goal this year, to hire a virtual assistant.
Good. A book, podcast, or resource you'd recommend?
The One Thing by Gary Keller. And it's not real estate related, but I think everybody should read that book, The One Thing. What would be that one thing that would change your business, your life? Yeah, read that book.
Good. Favorite local spot to recharge?
Oh my God, they closed it down. My favorite place was the local pool in Hughes Landing, and they closed it down. So, my second favorite after that is let me see. I had it in my head. It's Sweet Paris in Market Street. Because like I said, I'm not a coffee drinker, but they have the best Nutella latte and the best Nutella crepe. So that's my second best.
I've never thought about Nutella in coffee.
Go try it. I like sweet coffee, okay? So if you like sweet coffee, go give it a try.
I will have to try it.
Yes.
So let's wrap your session up with your show. It's not like we were in a counseling session with each other. Wrap it up with one piece of advice you'd give to a new entrepreneur today.
Well, follow your heart, follow your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot do it, because you can. And surround yourself with the right people that will give you the right advice and the right resources to succeed.
Great. KiKi, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your story of how you're building success in real estate, scaling WOMTech into a national platform, and helping to lead the WISE Conference, which inspires, supports, and empowers women in business while giving back to our communities. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Genuine Business Stories. If you're enjoying the show, we'd love for you to consider becoming a sponsor, making a donation back to the station, Lone Star Community Radio. This program is not possible without Lone Star Community Radio, so please support them. You could just simply share this episode with a friend, a neighbor, or fellow entrepreneur. And hey, if you know a small business owner with a story worth sharing, have them reach out to us. They just might be our next guest. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, and keep it genuine. Thank you.
Thank you.